Hi everyone, welcome to the new episode of Ecom 365. I'm co-founder and CEO of ShopAgain.io. In Ecom 365, we try to answer the challenges that e-commerce businesses and marketers face in their daily life. For this episode, I have a special guest with me. A lot of our viewers might resonate with his story. While keeping his one full-time job, Rushabh has worked evenings and weekends to keep his dream of starting a Shopify store. Hi Rushabh, thanks for joining us today. Let's get right into it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rushabh Shah. I'm one of the co-founders of Glish Food and Beverages. And professionally, I am a senior technical program manager for a ride-sharing company. So my day, it's pretty crazy working for another company, managing their strategic programs and initiatives. And then outside of normal business working hours, supporting my own little gig that I've started in form of Glish. So what is Glish and sort of, how did we come about with this idea sort of, or the storyline behind it, right? So when COVID struck, I think it's safe to say that all of us must have tried something or the other with our hands, with our, all possible means, something in our kitchen. And luckily, I was in a spot where I was packed with all of my family members. So while we shared the same food items, the beverages were not common across the table. Some preferred sparkling water, some preferred your traditional Coke, Pepsi, and then some preferred even wine or, alcoholic drinks, right? So we wanted to really create a beverage that is A, generational, that can be consumed by any member of the family, and B, it also has functional benefits because we're in 2022, right? Safe to say that we do not want to create beverages that are harmful to your health, body, and then basically, just disrupts your daily life. So keeping, consumers' well-being in mind, and at the same time wanting to ensure that poppy beverages, or I would say like pop beverages, sparkling beverages, are not sort of stigmatized. We wanted to create something unique, and that's how Glish ended up coming into fruition.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just to pick point from you. So the glish was really invented in your own kitchen.
Yes, we started off with the kitchen, and then one of my other co-founders, who happens to be my wife, she is a food chemist by background, and one thing led to another in terms of maturity, right? We started off with basic household ingredients, like literally extracting ginger juice, mixing with some other flavors that we had in the house, and then trying to go about creating a very basic prototype / sparkling beverage in the house, right? And then we leveraged her expertise to really make it commercialized in the course of next 9 months. Kid you not,
Wow.
because it's not an easy thing to do, right? Like you need, so because and the reason why I say it's not an easy thing to do is we are very committed to using pure and natural ingredients, and when you do that, the process is long because you meet with a lot of obstacles, and you need to sort of go about those obstacles to make a commercially viable product.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, how you came up with this idea. And that was fascinating to hear. However, we want to get into some more details,
Sure.
One of the challenges that our viewers faced is when they want to build a store, how do they do it? I mean, do they build it from scratch? How did you go about, from this idea to building an e-commerce store?
Yep. So there were a couple of ideas that were in my mind. Either to leverage, the big kahuna that's global, right, in guise of Amazon. But then the other one was to stand up literally a website of my own. And there were a couple of pointers that went in behind making a decision of standing up my own website. Because there was a lot of work that was done on the branding side of it. So it was imperative for us to have our own presence. And B, to provide more information in terms of how this product separates out from I guess, the plethora of sparkling beverages that's out there in the market. So when we made a decision, okay, we definitely want to have our own presence on the web, we started exploring options, and there were plentiful of them.
Yeah.
But the only one that we decided to go for, the reason for that, which I'll get into later, is Shopify. And why Shopify is because it is definitely the leader, but it's easy to set up, and it provides a lot of underlying functionalities that you need to sort of basically get your store up and running literally within few hours. And if you want to customize it, it would probably take a little more development work.
Yeah.
But to get it up and running, I think Shopify helped us a lot.
That really helps to hear. Thank you.
Mhm.
Now the next step in building your e-commerce store is, once you have your store up and running with the help of Shopify, how to get your first few sales, first 100 sales going. So how did you go about getting those initial sales once the store was up and running?
Yeah, so I think it was a multi-step approach, because the thing is, as I mentioned, right, like my background is not from a consumer packaged goods industry. While my wife, despite she being a food chemist, she's not worked in that industry, right? She's worked in the compliance world. So we literally targeted, we had what we use in the engineering language, 2 week sprints, where we were focusing one sprint only on word to mouth, like literally spreading the word as much as we can in our
Yeah.
social and professional networks. Then the other sprint, we literally focused on going to our neighborhood stores, pop stores, that we would say, hey, would you like to do a market test? And then the third one, which is the most critical one, what we realized is the digital presence, and to increase it, right? So in form of social media, in form of whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and then to add it up, also creating the content that supports it, right? So yes, doing word of mouth, going physically into stores, and then from a digital presence perspective, increasing our online footprint. So that would drive the D2C sales from Shopify perspective, and then the B2B sales from going to like literally knocking on the door onto the stores. That's how we were able to get our first
Well,
100. Yeah.
every entrepreneur has got to do that. Knocking on the doors always works.
Yep.
Thanks for sharing that, Rushabh.
Mhm.
So now we got our stores up and running, and we got first 100 sales as well. Now the
Mhm.
big question is, you are getting the new customers. How do you retain them? How do you make sure that they keep coming back to your store and they keep buying from you? How to build that relationship with your newly acquired customers? So how did you solve that problem?
Yeah. So customer retention is something which is one of the most challenging areas in any consumer packaged good industry, right? Whether it's a beverage, whether it's a box of cereals, or whether it's a candy, anything, right? But the way we are trying to approach this specific problem of having customers hooked on to Glish is again threefold. One is through heavy, I wouldn't say heavy, but proper and strategic email marketing, where we are communicating with our customers in terms of why our product is good. We send out newsletters. We actually sometimes literally our email content talks about nothing related to Glish, but related to the lifestyle and how sort of a product complements their specific lifestyle, right? So that sort of ends up creating a connection with them. The second thing that we work on, right, is to ensure that our content is consistent. So if it's email, if it's social media, again, in our social media platform, we want to ensure that the content is spread across. Yes, we provide educational information as well. Like for example, right, people say that sugar is bad for your health. Yes, it is bad for your health, but then so are lots of other things. Anything that's consumed in excess ends up becoming harmful. But people are not aware that organic cane sugar has been consumed by human body for more than thousands of years. It in fact retains nutrients. So if you want to consume sugar, consume in quantities that are prescribed, by medical geniuses out there. And Glish definitely uses way less sugar compared to, any other beverage brand that's out there, right? Like 5 grams of organic cane sugar. So again, right? Ensuring proper information is given to consumers also helps a lot through email, through social media. These are some of the styles and patterns that we're using to help retain customers.
Yeah. So, all in all, connecting with your customers, sending them engaging content, which is even not necessarily about your brand,
Yep.
and also educating them along the way. That's how you build relationship with your customers, and that's how you get them to come back to your store and identify your brand in the crowd.
Correct.
That's I think going to be very useful for our viewers.
Mhm.
At last, I wanna ask one more question. What's been the biggest challenge in overall process of building and running your Shopify store?
Yeah. I have a laundry list, but the thing is that anytime when you start your own gig, challenges will be thrown at you left, right, and center, right? Because it's not easy to start your own, or to sort of basically get on a journey of becoming an entrepreneur, let alone getting successful. Some of the challenges really involved around the fulfillment aspect, because as I mentioned, right, we are not using Amazon yet. We are doing the fulfillment by ourselves because we want to create our own brand awareness. The second one is where I think we are getting some extraordinary help by using some very good tools in guise of ShopAgain, where they are smart analytical capabilities. Of course, combined with email marketing, that's great, but reducing the churn and getting more sales from customers is where these tools have really helped us a lot. But it was difficult initially to pick the right one. So this is where you would be thrown in, where there's lots of applications that are out there in the market that will provide lots of fancy things, but it's important for you as an entrepreneur to get your due diligence done, see what works for you, and then making the shot, right, and calling the shots.
Absolutely.
Yep.
100% agreed with you. Thank you for joining us, Rushabh. I think we have learned a lot about the initial challenges of setting up a store and then how to go about growing it. Finally, if you guys have any questions about e-commerce in general, email us at ecom365@shopagain.io. We will have them answered by an expert in the future episodes. This episode was sponsored by ShopAgain.io, an AI-powered customer retention platform. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Rishabh. Have a good
Thank
one.
you. Take care.
Bye-bye.